I'm Cal Dietz. All right, let's get right into it. I want to talk about something that I see all the time in the strength and conditioning world, our obsession with the concentric phase, with just lifting the weight. Today, we're going to challenge a core belief that I think holds a ton of athletes back. And I'll show you how a pretty simple shift in how you think can unlock a whole new level of athletic performance. So, let me start by asking you a question, one I love to ask coaches. Think about your team. Are your strongest athletes, the ones with the monster squat or the biggest bench press, are they actually your best, most explosive athletes when it comes to game day? The answer? Well, it's a lot more complicated than you'd think, and it really gets to the heart of what we're going to break down today. So here's our game plan. First, we're going to talk about a common trap that so many coaches fall into. Then, we'll get into the science of force development and see what really makes an athlete explosive. From there, we'll get practical and talk about how to train for that explosiveness. I've got a great case study that proves the point. Then we'll test what you've learned, and we'll wrap it all up with the biggest takeaways. All right, let's kick things off with this idea I call the concentric-only trap. It's a mindset, really, that focuses on the wrong things, and honestly, it puts a ceiling on what our athletes can achieve. And you can see why it happens, right? It's easy. A coach can go to their athletic director with a spreadsheet and say, hey, look, every single one of my players got their back squat up by 30 pounds. My job is done. And sure, on paper, they're stronger. But here's the thing. Are they better athletes? That's a whole different ballgame, because sports aren't played slow. They're about speed and power. So to really understand why just lifting more weight isn't the answer, we have to decode the science of how athletes produce force and produce it quickly. This is where we go beyond just the load on the bar and look at the physics of human movement. And that physics always involves three phases. You've got the eccentric, which is the loading or braking part, the isometric, that tiny pause at the bottom, and then the concentric, which is the explosive unloading part. And this is absolutely crucial. What matters in sport isn't just max force, it's the rate of force development, or RFD. It's not just about how much force you can create, it's about how fast you can create it. A 1-rep max is just maximal force, but a knockout punch, a jump ball, a swing of the bat, that's maximal RFD. That's sport. Okay, now look at this graph. This shows us what's happening inside an inefficient athlete. See how that line is climbing? They're building force, and then boom, right after that isometric transition, the slope just flattens out. That right there, that's what I call a power leak. All the energy they stored up in the eccentric and isometric phases is just gone. It's wasted because their concentric system can't express it. That's a slower, less powerful athlete. Period. And this slide makes it crystal clear. It's night and day, right? On the left, you've got the athlete with that power leak, but on the right, look at that. A constant, aggressive slope right through the transition. That athlete is like a perfectly coiled spring. They transfer energy seamlessly from absorbing the force to exploding out of it. There's no leak, it's just pure, efficient power. So the main point here is this. You can spend all the time in the world training your athletes to be great at absorbing force with eccentric and isometric work. But if you haven't taught their body how to release all that stored energy with a powerful concentric contraction, it was all for nothing. It's just wasted potential. So that brings us to the big question. How do we fix that energy leak? How do we train for real, on-the-field explosiveness? Well, the answer is in how we approach concentric training within the whole triphasic model. And you know what? It almost sounds too simple to be true. But the most important principle is this. You have to train fast. The goal of every single concentric rep is to fire up the nervous system and recruit as many motor units as possible, as fast as possible. We're training for speed and efficiency. I absolutely love this analogy, so get this picture in your head. Imagine a super bouncy red rubber ball hitting a concrete floor. Bam! There's an immediate, violent rebound with almost zero energy lost. That's what we're chasing. That's the feeling we want in every single rep. A lightning-fast absorption of force followed by an even faster explosion. So what's this actually look like in the gym? Well, when we're going heavy, above 80% of their max, look at the reps. We're talking singles, maybe doubles. This is not about bodybuilding. We're not trying to get a pump. We are teaching the nervous system to light up like a Christmas tree, to recruit every last motor unit it can find, and to unleash maximum force in an instant. It's pure neurological work. And even when the week gets lighter, the intent, the mindset, it doesn't change one bit. Whether you're at 65% or down at 35%,
Every single rep has to be an all-out effort to move that bar as fast as humanly possible. We are conditioning the body to be explosive, period. Quality and speed over everything else.
Now, you might have seen that word reactive on the loading charts we just looked at. This is the secret sauce. This is what brings it all together. It means we're not just lifting the weight up fast, we're doing everything fast. The lowering phase, the stop at the bottom, and the explosion up. It's all one fluid, violent, seamless motion. We're literally training that perfect constant slope we saw in the RFD graph. We're plugging the power leak. Let's make this super practical. For a reactive back squat, you're not just kind of dropping into the bottom. No, you are actively pulling yourself down with your hip flexors and lats. The second you hit depth, you reverse direction and explode out of the hole with everything you've got, driving that bar all the way up. It has to be aggressive. It has to be violent. So the big question is, does all this theory actually work in the real world? Let me tell you a story from 2004 with my baseball team that perfectly illustrates just how powerful this approach is. This is one of my favorite examples ever. Okay, so here's what we did. I split the team into 2 groups for 4 weeks. The first group, the standard method, they just did their normal program and they practiced the pro shuttle drill 3 times a week. The second group, our Triphasic group, we added specific eccentric and isometric work to their program. But here's the kicker. They did not practice the pro shuttle drill. Not a single time. So after 4 weeks, we retested everybody. The results were just staggering. The group that actually practiced the drill, they got better, sure, by about 1/10 of a second, a 2% improvement. But the Triphasic group, the guys who never practiced the drill, they improved by 0.3 of a second. That's an 8% improvement. I mean, let's just put that in perspective. The athletes who trained the underlying physiology, who fixed their weak links and learned how to handle force, they saw a 4-fold, a 4 times greater improvement than the athletes who just practiced the drill. Just think about what that means for how we program. All right, let's hit pause for a second. I want to make sure these ideas are really sinking in. We'll do a couple of quick questions here to help lock it all into place. First one, what's that key visual on an RFD graph that screams inefficient athlete? That tells you there's a problem in their concentric phase. It's that slope change. A great athlete maintains a constant aggressive slope. An underdeveloped athlete has that drop-off, that power leak. And question number 2, why on earth did those baseball players get so much better at a drill they never even did? The answer is the key to everything. They didn't train the test, they trained the athlete. By fixing the weak links and their ability to absorb and reverse force, we built them a better engine that made them better at the specific qualities needed for that drill and for their sport. Okay, so if you're going to walk away remembering just 5 things from our time today, let it be these. Number 1, getting a bigger 1-rep max is a trap. Sport is about rate of force development. Number 2, that slope change you see on a graph isn't just a line, it's wasted energy and lost potential. 3, the fix is simple, but it's not easy. Train fast, be reactive. 4, this kind of training is all about quality neurological work, not just chasing fatigue. And number 5, which might be the most important, training the underlying physiological engine of your athletes is way more effective than just having them practice a skill over and over. If you fix the engine, the car will always go faster.